Doubt about it.
So, mixtape mornings.
The morning mixtape.
The morning mixtape.
Yeah.
Tell me about the concept. Who came up with that, and how did it roll into being the premier morning show?
It was all my idea. No, I'm just playing.
The idea was passed to me by Jay Allen, the program director. He told us that we were going to be doing a mix at the top of every hour. And initially I was like, okay, that's different. That's not something that I've heard of for mornings. But we rolled with it because they were coming to me with an opportunity to do mornings. They said it's going to be that wasn't even the name of the show. It was just kind of like we didn't even really have a name. It was just, we knew that there were going to be mixes at the top of the hour. And I came in with a list of names, hashtags, and things that I wanted to possibly tie into the show. And Morning Mixtape was one of the names within a bunch of things that I just jotted down. So when we sat down and we were like, because the name had leaked that the show was going to be called Mixed Mornings. And I thought that sucked. I was like, that sucks. Mixed Mornings? It just sounds like it could be anything, like Mixed Mornings. What is that? So when I sat down and came up with a list of things, Morning Mixtape was on there, and I was just throwing stuff out in the room. And you know how those sessions, like, so that's what stuck. So the Morning Mixtape stuck, and I should have put my name first. I should have said Mike Love's Morning Mixtape, but I said the Morning Mixtape with Mike Love, and they were like, let's run with it. So they ran with it, and then it went from there. And of course, Lady Red was involved the whole step of the way.
Well, you know, when people thought about that name and concept, immediately we were like, well, that fits because Mike Love is a DJ, and you don't, disguise the fact that you are a DJ first.
Yeah. I put that out there all the time, like that, because DJing is what's gotten me to where I am right now. Everywhere from my beginnings in radio, that's how I got on the air. So when I'm talking over cats mixes, I did that. So when I sat down with the mixtape DJs, the guys who do the mixes on the show, I'm like, trust me, man, everything y'all doing, everything y'all go through, I've done. I did it in Milwaukee, I did it here in Chicago. I do mixes, I still DJ in the club. So it's easy for me to be able to get into mixes at the top of every hour, and I knew that the music was going to carry the show, and it was going to bring people to the show as well, because they were going to be into the music. It was going to be up-tempo and fun.
You've had your fair share of co-hosts along the way, and Chicago listeners have had the pleasure of listening to your voice as part of the Bad Boys. That era, great era.
Great,
we all miss it. We sometimes hear some of the old air checks on YouTube and the commercials that you and the Diz have done, and then you transition into really kind of holding your ground by yourself. And now here we are again,
and the team,
with Lady Red, who is very familiar on the Chicago club scene for doing your famous karaoke nights. But you also have done other things outside of that. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, actually, Mike Love is the one that brought me in radio. I started off, I actually wanted to learn how to DJ. That's how I got into the karaoke. And we were at Club Mix. I shadowed the DJ, and they had a karaoke night, and they was like, we want you to sing the first song. So I would always start the show, but I bartended. So nobody would want to come up, and then the guy was, I'm going to be late, so I'm going to show you how to hook the equipment up when I'm late. So he showed me how to hook the equipment up. So we were out twiddling our thumbs, nothing happened. So I just decided to start playing music while we're waiting. Then I started to start the show. So I would play a karaoke song, and then I would play some music, and I would go back and forth, and that pen turned into karaoke, which Mike Love came to one of the shows and saw me and was like, hey, you want to be on radio? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he was working at the other station at the time. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be on radio. Not knowing he was serious. Put me in the car, we're driving to the station. I'm like, we're really about to be on the radio. Told me, gave me some pointers on how to talk, and he basically ran the show, so I was comfortable. And I was on the big station for like a week, fell in love with radio. He and I had a internet radio show together.
did in 2007. Shout Radio.
Yeah.
Shout out to E-Love.
When we stopped doing radio, I had 2 internet radio shows, but it was because of him that I had the interest in radio. Like, because he just was like, do you want to be on radio? With no experience. I never went to school for it. I went to school for accounting. That's my background, but nothing for radio. But this man right here, he was like, see something in you, Red. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I was so nervous. He didn't know it, though.
Yeah.
I was nervous. But
I know when you got nerves now at this point. At this point, I'm Cool Hand Luke with it. I can hide mine pretty good, but that's how it is when you newer in the game. You know, you got to work through all of that. And everybody gets butterflies, so it is what it is.
Yeah. And he even spoke, like, the reason for bringing me on. He was like, I have a vision of a morning show. Like, you're gonna be like the ambiance. And we also had comedian Lil Rel. So Lil Rel was a comedian. This was his vision way back 10, 12 years ago.
We didn't know Lil Rel was going to do Get Out
Right.
and the Carmichael show.
Right.
And really blow. Shout out to him, though.
Yeah.
That's a real good look for him.
So this was his vision like 12 years ago. Like, I have a vision of a morning show, Mike Love morning show. So he brought us together and put us on the air.
We couldn't afford Lil Rel. So I just was like, hey, Red. No. The coach
And
remixed
now
stuff
we're here.
we are.
Now, why do people call you Lady Red?
Well, it started off as MC Red. And it's funny because a person that worked at the station is the one that gave me the Lady Red title, because they were just calling me MC Red because I would just get up and just, host the show. But the station it was Power 92 actually hired me for one of the account executives had an event down in Joe's on Weed Street. I'm in my car and I hear a commercial that says Lady Red Crunk Karaoke is going to be at Weed Street. So I'm like livid, like, who is, this Red doing karaoke using my name? Didn't even know it. Call the station. I'm like ready to go bananas. And they're like, oh, that's you. You need to be here at 4 o'clock. We dropped the MC and put Lady in front of it because we thought it sounded better. So an account executives actually that worked at Power No, they're no longer here, but they're the one that
know that story.
Yeah, they're the one that gave me their name.
Look at that.
Yeah. Pastor at T-Grip and Pastor Chari. They're the ones that gave me
that name.
Gave me that name.
Didn't know that. I thought you gave yourself that name.
No, I've always been called Red because as growing up, my hair was always a sandy color red. So Red has been my name since I was a baby. No, it was from my hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because my hair was a sandy, dirty red color.
Dark. It was dark. You lightened up over the years.
This guy, see, I lightened up over the years. Right. My vitiligo, my Michael Jackson vitiligo said.
Kicked in.
Now, you're from Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up?
Yep, born and raised.
Okay. And what was your first interaction with radio when it hit you that this is something you want to do?
I mean, when I was in junior high school, I wanted to get in radio, so it was always a dream. After I graduated from high school, I got a job at WNOV, 860 AM. That was my first doing a daily mix, Monday through Friday, in 85. From there, in 88, I got a job doing mixes on a weekend mix on WLUM, which was Hot 102 back in those days. Steve Hagewood, shout out to him, gave me my first real radio gig. And then from there, so I'd say, to answer the question, radio has just been in my blood. Kids get music different nowadays. When I go to schools, I always talk about the differences in how we got music in our day versus how they receive music. Like, we got all of our new music from the radio if you grew up in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, and I ask the kids that, I'll take in a 45, a cassette single, and a CD single, and say, these are the ways that we receive music. And then I'll ask the students, where's the first place you hear new music? And they say YouTube or Spotify or wherever they get it. So that was the place where it sounded like fun. That was where the music came from first, so I wanted to be a part of that. And I was just a poor black kid, so I was like, man, I could get free music if I got a job in radio. I don't know how I knew. I don't know how I knew radio DJs got music for free, but I did know that. So, and sure enough, here I am today. Now you're turning down music. Stop sending me your music. Don't send me no more MP3s. I don't know how to get them on. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, did you start out as a DJ first, and then did you roll into transitioning into on the air?
Yeah, I started out as a DJ. That's interesting because why would the kid that wanted to be on the radio start out as a DJ first? But I guess it was just the love of music and being around it and going to skating rinks. I think that's another thing we all really talk about, like how skating rinks are, at least in our generation, was our first real opportunity to hear DJs. Like before they came, because they came out to the parks, but really you went to the skate rinks first and you heard the DJs mixing and blending records. Not so much in the parks like New York and, to a certain extent Chicago, but it was always the radio stations came out to the parks. And in Milwaukee as well. So the radio stations came out to the parks. So, but it wasn't the blending and mixing like they may have been doing in New York. But going to the skating rinks, I think, was the thing that made me want to DJ. So yeah, I got in. But by '88, once I worked for the FM station, Steve Hegwood, who was the guy that hired me, was like, so you want to just DJ? You just want to be a DJ for the rest of your life, or you want to do more than that? And I was like, yeah. I actually, when I was on WNOV, I had like a weekend on-air shift. So I had experience being on air, so it was just about becoming better and getting more comfortable doing it. I also did traffic, all the things that Red does now, I think I did. So I did like a Monday through Friday traffic report. I came in the afternoon and did traffic on the afternoon show. So it was just get in where you fit in.
Because you have a natural ability. Your voice is definitely a